Hi, my dear lovely students. How are you? Welcome to this session. So, this is another session where we will be talking about how to enhance your vocabulary. We'll be learning some new words, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy the techniques that will be taught in this particular class. My name is Juhi Narula, and let's get started. So, see, when we talk about building vocabulary, we have been discussing a lot of innovative strategies. We have talked about that how reading immensely contributes. We have also discussed that how to be, good at vocabulary, you need to not cram and innovate. So we have talked about creating mnemonics where, we can associate the word with some character or some personality or, anything that strikes us instantaneously. We have also talked about how to create flashcards, right? And how root words is a very interesting approach. So all these are few important suggestions that we have discussed in detail in one of the sessions, one of the recorded videos. So in this video, we are going to explore some more categories. So I'm sure it's going to be great fun for you to participate in the class. So the first strategy for today is kangaroo words. So uh, I'm sure you have seen kangaroo and the picture is there in front of you. So there is a meaning in the word itself, right? So that's very interesting. And how it works, let's explore. I'll give you a lot of examples so that you can enjoy learning the strategy. So, like I said, a kangaroo word is a one in which the word itself contains the meaning of the word, right? Isn't it very interesting? Isn't it very unique? Have you ever thought of it? How? Let's see. So, this baby kangaroo is asking the mother, what is adoroid, right? So, in the meaning is the meaning in the word Joe, like you are in my pouch. It means art, something like skill. So, the way the baby is in the pouch of the mother, the kangaroo baby, similarly, the meaning of the word is in the word itself. How? Let me just quickly write it for you. So I'll write this word adroit, right? So can you see this? Now I'm just circling the word for your comfort. A-R-T, art. So adroit means art or skill or a skillful person, right? So that's how you can see the meaning of the word is in the word itself, and that's what we mean by kangaroo words. So let's quickly make a sentence before we proceed further. So what are we going to do whenever we learn a new word? We will ensure that we do a lot of discussion around it. So adroit is a person who is adept. This is another synonym that you can learn for this, and the opposite of adept will be inept, right? So this is the synonym and this is the antonym for the word, and it means a person who's skillful, or the word art is there in the uh, main word only as it is a kangaroo word, right? So adroit, who's a skillful person? So Shalina makes wonderful cakes. She's an adroit. So she is skillful, right? She's skillful in the art of cake making, right? You must have seen all these recently. There's a lot of boom in startups, right? So people are using their talents. They're coming up with a lot of innovative skills. So that's where they show that they are adroit. So in whatever domain they are adroit, they are skillful. They see that their talent can blossom. There, they start with something of their own. So that's what we mean by the term adroit, a person who's skillful, a person who's having talent, a person who's adept, right? Nipun hona. So that's what we will call in Hindi. So if I have to write it for you, I will say nipun, right? So nipun is a person who's skillful in any art, right? So I hope you are clear with this particular word, everybody. So please ensure that you make a sentence whenever you are learning a word, right? Because what happens is that if you're not discussing much about that particular word, soon you are going to forget that particular word, and that's what we would not want for ourselves, right? So let's further proceed. So let's talk about deceased. So again, there is another word, deceased, and I'll write it for you like this: Deceased, deceased. So if you will pick the kangaroo word, it would be dead. Okay, so deceased is a person who has passed away, who has died, who's dead, right? So now what you can do is you can make a sentence on the word deceased. So deceased, the deceased captain of Indian Army was appreciated during the award ceremony. So there was an award ceremony. You must have seen there are a lot of awards which are given posthumously, means after the death of the person, if he has performed exceptionally in the war, right? So deceased, the person who has passed away, who's no more, right? So can you see the meaning of disease is in the word itself, right? So that's what we mean by this word deceased, right? So let's quickly make another sentence. So I'll give you not 1 minute, I'll give you 30 seconds. Quickly make a sentence for yourself so that you can absorb the word and we are good to go ahead. Great. So let's further proceed. Now, the next word that we are going to learn is diminutive. Diminutive means something which is very small, tiny, minute. So, again, see this word, and I'll do one thing. I'll just underline, though it's very reflective here in the word itself, the way it has been written on the PPT. So, minute. Minute is small, right? Tiny. So, petite, there's another word, petite. So, this is another new word that you can learn, petite. So, people who are thin or who are skinny, we use this term petite for them, right? Small. So, diminutive intensity of the pandemic, right? Though it was not diminutive, but gradually it became diminutive. So that's how you can use it, right? So I'm sure you're clear with the meaning of the word. Diminutive means something which is very small, tiny, minute, petite. You must have seen that when we talk about atoms or molecules, we used to talk about in our chemistry class, we used to say that these are minute particles, these are small, right? Or there was a minute error in the, sheet, in the Excel sheet there was a minute error. That means there was a small error. So that's what it means. So you can see there's a very interactive PPT where there's a communication going between the baby kangaroo and the mother kangaroo, and diminutive, the baby is able to answer that it means minute or petite, right? So again, innovate. See, the idea to make such PPTs is to tell you that, see, this is one of the ways. I know you would not make PPTs to learn, but you can look for such material so that you are very much aligned with what you are doing and how you are learning, right? Come to the next word, which is facade. So facade means a front part, right? The face, right? So that's it means. So at times what happens is we also use this word in other meaning, and I will explain you that also. So don't trust him. The what he said is the facade. That means something which is he's saying on the face but is different from the real scene, right? So that's what we mean. Or otherwise, facade may also mean the frontal portion or the face, right? So see, now the moment you know that the meaning is in the word itself, you're practically doing nothing but just observing the word carefully, right? So that's how you are going to remember the words better. So now it's your turn. Quickly make a sentence before we proceed further. Everybody, please start doing it, and then we are going to revise the words we have learned so far. Great, great. So let me just revise all the words. Keep on revising in between so that you stay aware of what's happening and what you have learned. So facade, which means face, right? Then we learned deceased, which means dead. right? Then we did a diminutive, which means a minute. And what else did we do? We did adroit. So adroit means art or skillful person, right? So I hope you're not going to forget the word, right? So I've just written the kangaroo words so that you're able to retain them better, right? You can make some sentences. Facade is the frontal portion, or like I said, something that you show on your face, but it is different in reality. Deceased is a person who has passed away, right? A diminutive is something which is tiny, small. So, like I said, there's a diminutive error or there's a minute error in the worksheet. Adroit is art. So, she's such an adroit that her Nina Gupta is an adroit, and her wonderful performances are reflected in the movies in which she acts, right? So, this is how you can make a sentence. So, whenever you make a sentence, try that you are associating with a person or character. Maybe when I'll talk about adroit, something that I can immediately think of adroit. Maybe somebody, a cousin of yours who's doing some great painting, or who's recycling or upcycling something from the waste products. So you think that she's really skillful, or somebody who's an exceptional dancer. So whatever comes out in terms of adroit in your mind, just make a sentence using that particular word. So in a way you are creating a mnemonic also, and you're retaining the word better, right? So I hope you are going to work on the strategies. Let's further proceed. Pellucid. Okay, so the word is pellucid. And again, like I said, in kangaroo words, the meaning lies in the word itself, lucid, something which is clear, right? So I there's a beautiful sentence on it, so we are going to read it as it is. I've had some lucid dreams during my nap. Next words, please. So it is clear that you had some, good clarity on that word, right? So we can move to the next word. So, but kangaroo, you have to wait. We are going to, make some sentences. So the report presented was pellucid, and it reflected that there was a lot of improvement required in the school, right? So pellucid means something which is lucid. Lucid means something which is clear, something which is easy to understand. Okay, easy to understand. And the opposite would be obstruse, something which is confusing, something which is complicated, something which is difficult to understand, right? So you can make some sentences for your own sake so that you are familiar with the word, right? Quickly make a sentence and then we are going to proceed further. Great. So let's further proceed. Next is a very interesting word, unanimity. So unanimity means united together. Okay, so the unity is the meaning. United is what we would say. And another thing, that anim stands for life. So when everybody is together, that's what we would want to say, right? This word was also discussed when we learned the root word approach, right? So there are various ways to learn one particular word. That's what I'm trying to tell you here, that just don't stick to one approach where you're just making the sentences or where you're making flashcards. Of course there can be one approach which is your favorite and you would really enjoy learning the words, or that's clicking for you, which is a good thing. You can have one standardized approach, but you can ensure that you're being creative and you know including a lot of approaches. So the more number of approaches you are going to incorporate, the more effective your preparation would be, and you'll have a better word base, right? So we all will be united in learning as many words as we can, right? So that's the motto, that's the goal, that we would be together and we would be working as a team, we will be working as a unit. So that's what unanimity means, right? We also say the decision was unanimous. So unanimous means everybody agreed to that, there was unity shown to it, right? So there is another word, unanimous. Of course it's coming from unanimity only. So unanimous, where everybody is together, right? Togetherness, together. Okay, so that's how you can remember the words. Time to proceed further. So before we proceed, let's quickly make a sentence so that the word stays with us for a longer time. Great. So let's further proceed. Plagiarist. So plagiarist, you can see liar. So plagiarist is a person who copies. Okay. And this plagiarism is specially for copying ideas. Okay, so you must have seen that there are certain musicians who would copy the tunes of some other composers and they would sell it as if it belongs to them, the people who are copying it. So that is plagiarism, stealing somebody's ideas, right? So you are a liar, you're saying that this belongs to me, but this is not yours. You've already copied it, right? So I'll just say, it's more like stealing of ideas, right? Less of things. So you don't use it that she's a plagiarist, she has taken something from me. So it's not uh, like a thief. It would be like a thief but stealing somebody's ideas, right? So at times you will see somebody is given to write a speech and he or she would go and copy something from a source and present it as if it belongs to that particular person. So that's stealing, right? And it's usually seen in creative fields where people would copy. So you'll see some fashion designers getting you know um, stealing somebody's ideas, or music directors stealing somebody's compositions. So that's where this term is more prevalent and more popular, right? So I hope you're clear with this. So my friend lied to me, mom. He copied my assignment and said it was his own, right? So do something about that, mommy, right? So that's how the baby kangaroo is talking to the mother kangaroo. So that's how associate, create a picture, right? Where somebody, a little kid is coming and complaining. So this way, the moment you are able to visualize that particular word, your attention would become definitely better, right? So time to make a quick sentence and then we are going to learn further. Great. So let's further proceed and learn the next word. Fabrication. So fabrication, if we'll see, there are some words for you, and what we are going to do, we are going to find the kangaroo words for it. We are going to learn the meanings and we are going to do a lot of detailed discussion on it. So let's get started. So fabrication. So fabrication, if you are able to see, what are we doing here? Just take a look. Rodent is round. So usually we describe the body type of a person saying he's rodent, that means he's round, that means he's fat. That's how we are going to use it, right? So fabrication, if you will see, that means to create something, right? So you are trying to change it. So the data is fabricated, right? So fabricated means it's being molded and twisted, right? So that's what we mean by fabrication. So the idea was fabricated while it was presented to the CEO. It was molded, it was put in other form. Now, rodent would be round, like I said, right? It's usually the person is rodent, that means he is round. So it's usually used to define the body types. When we talk about salvage, it is to set free. Okay, can you see the word is um, save? So salvage is to save, set free. Okay, this is my salvation. This is why, where I'm saving myself. This is where I'm getting freedom from this world. So usually the priest or the heretics, they would go for salvation. And how would they achieve salvation? Through meditation, right? So you must have seen there are a lot of sessions by Osho or some by Ravi Shankar. So these gurus, they give way towards salvation for the common people. So that's how we'll use this term salvation. And opposite is something which is apt, right? Apt means something which is appropriate. Okay. So what happens is usually students get very confused with opposite here, but the word is different, right? A and O. So you have to be careful about these little details. What happens is when we are in a rush, we would try to, just mug them up without seeing the details. And when it comes in the exam, you might get some confusion. So I'm sure you're clear with the meaning of the words. Time to make sentences before we proceed further. Everybody, please do make some sentences. Great. So let's further proceed. These are the words that we have learned some, so far. So we will quickly revise, and then we are going to talk about other strategy mnemonics in detail. So adroit is a person who's skillful, right? So think of a person who's adroit. Maybe I don't know. I've just seen Masaba a few days back, so I can just think of Nina Gupta, right? You can think of any person whom you think is a talented, skillful person. Deceased is somebody who's dead, right? Pellucid is lucid, which is easy to understand, right? So you can think of something which is easy to understand. Unanimous is together, unity, collectiveness. Plagiarist is copying ideas, stealing ideas, right? Diminutive is minute or small. I should also write the kangaroo words, right? So here it would be liar. Maybe you can remember it like this, and this would be minute, which is tiny or small. Facade is face, how you are, reflecting, how you are showing. So both the ways, it can be the frontal portion, right? So frontal portion, the facade needs painting. So that's how you can use it in a sentence. Or it's also like this, that how a person is reflecting to be something else while he's different in other life, other phases of life, right? So I hope you are clear with the words. We have found some great kangaroo words here, and this is again a very interesting approach. So you have to be sharp, you have to see the word, and you will be able to incorporate this approach. See, this is not something which will happen overnight like magic. You have to work hard, you have to ensure that you're rigorous in your efforts, so that this becomes a part of you, right? So let's learn the next approach, which is mnemonics. This is personally one of my favorite approaches. What are mnemonics? Like I previously also must have given you this example, that 1 to 20 atomic numbers in our school, I learned like this. I was in sixth standard, and I also remember the name of the teacher, Preeti ma'am. So she taught us like this: her Haley babe kanofane nam gal sips clarka, and still with me, right? So maybe sixth is a long time. It was precisely in 90s, right? So yeah, I've grown really old. So but the strategy works, right? So mnemonics, you try to associate with different personalities, different images, characters, so that the word stays with you. So if you're going to see this diffident, so diffident is a person who lacks confidence, who's timid, who's shy, who's not very comfortable in coming up in front of people. So that's one of the traits, right? So difficult being confident. So see, can you see, I've done some different some creativity for you, but ultimately you have to find it for yourself, that works, what works well. Difficulty being confident, so the meaning diffident is there in the sentence itself, right? So this fellow is complaining, I'm not good at anything. So that's basically where you are diffident, you are not having that much of confidence. Timid, a person who's too intimidated by the surroundings. So think of any person who's diffident, any character in the movie where the person is diffident, shy, is not able to speak up. So that's where we will be appropriately using the words, right? So you can make a quick sentence and then we are going to proceed further. So how I have created a, a mnemonic: difficult being confident, right? Difficulty in being confident. So you can, again, like I said, it's a very personalized approach. You can have your own way to create a mnemonic, but ensure that it is something that stays with you, doing something which is very interesting, which is very unique, but then you are not able to retain, so that defeats our purpose, right? So let's further proceed. Time to make a sentence and then we will move to the next word. Great. So let's further learn the next word, which is abstruse. Wow, difficult to understand. Can you see? I'm also associating a picture with the word so that you can somehow create a picture in your mind. I would think of Ishan Awasthi from Tare Zameen Par. You remember how you used to feel in the class, the character. So he was confused, he was intimidated, and he was finding things difficult to understand. So I am absolutely truly confused. So you can see abstrused written here for you, right? So absolutely truly confused. Now there can be other synonyms to it. Esoteric. So the idea is esoteric, that means it's difficult to understand, it's difficult to relate to. Remember, we were when we were doing this kangaroo word just few minutes back, pellucid. So with the meaning is lucid. I did tell you that the opposite of this word would be abstruse. See, now you can associate better. So enigmatic or unfathomable, something which you can't absorb, something which you can't understand very easily, which is not flowy, which is not lucid, or which is not pellucid, right? So that's how you are going to retain difficult to understand. I'm absolutely truly confused. And when you will be absolutely truly confused, when you are not able to absorb the information, right? So it's time that you make a quick sentence on it and then we are going to proceed further. Great. So time to proceed further. Now let's learn the next mnemonic. Abhor. Abhor is to hate intensely, right? So intensely is something to absolutely another level, right? So if you will just create a mnemonic, absolutely horrible, abhor, right? So you can see it can be any task. So this fellow doesn't like to do the household things and he hates them. So just think of something that you actually hate, right? So uh, maybe for me it would be getting up too early in the morning. So I see a lot of my friends who get up at 4:30, 5:30, but I abhor the idea, right? So I would want to get up by 6:37, not a early morning person. So I abhor that idea. So what is your idea that you don't like it? Or rather, I would say hate intensely. To think of it and then create a sentence. Then you'll be able to relate. Okay, so abhor, oh, this is the task which I abhor. This is something which I dislike intensely. So that's how you'll be able to retain the information better. Okay, so everybody, please make a sentence and then we are going to proceed further. Great. So let's further proceed and see. Oh, we have some synonyms also. So detest, loathe, abominate. These are synonyms. So you can also learn synonyms and antonyms along with the word. So this is how you'll be creating a better word base, right? It's not necessary. It's not always necessary if you know the meaning of the word. Our a main job is sorted. But if you learn synonyms, you learn antonyms. With one word, you'll be able to learn 7, 8, 10 words, and that's an interesting approach. But in that case, you would want to devote more time, but that's fine. Of course, you are learning 10 words, so of course you need to invest time, which would not be 10 times, right? So if you are learning any word in 5 minutes, it doesn't mean that when you're learning synonyms and antonyms you would be needing a time, you'll be needing 50 minutes for it. But how it would happen is that you would be just needing another 5 to 10 minutes more, but you'll be having a richer vocabulary base. That is the reason you'll see a lot of trainers, whenever they teach the main word, they would also try to give you some synonyms, some antonyms, right? Some other associated words that you can pack together in one group. That idea is that when we are learning synonyms and antonyms together, we are able to create a richer word base in lesser time, lesser investment of time, right? So please try to retain the synonyms also. You can see what is your pace. If you're feeling that learning 10 words in one go becomes too intense, then maybe one synonym, two synonyms, or two antonyms, however works well for you. For me, I always feel that with one word we can associate, learn 5 more words. This is my idea, right? So one would be of course the meaning of the word, and then there can be synonyms and antonyms that you can pack along, right? So let's quickly proceed further and see what's the next word. Affable. Oh, so let's see. I love the new science teacher. Me too. She is so easy to talk to. So, see, when you are able to understand the discussion, then you are able to relate. So, affectionable, a person who's worthy of showing love, who's friendly. So, the Latin word is to speak to. That means a person who's very comfortable to speak to, whom you feel absolutely confident, and you're excited to talk to that particular person. That person gives you some positive vibes. Remember there were certain school teachers who were always favorite of the entire group. Why? Because you would want to share your problems with her or him, or you would communicate easily, or you knew that that person is going to hear you out, right? So that's where we are going to use the word affable, right? Understood? I hope it is clear to everybody, right? So easy going, friendly, that's what we would mean by this word of affable, affectionable, right? So I am trying to, somehow give you some mnemonics. You can again associate, create in a better way, in other way, in an interesting way, in something which is more relatable for you, right? So please make a sentence before that. Congenial. So the person is congenial, right? So congenial means a person who's easy to talk to, a person who's very, kind in the behavior, who's very warm in behavior, right? And courteous, showing a lot of courtesy means respect in terms of behavior. So that person is courteous, he would really talk gently, or usually we use it like this, for army people, they are chivalrous and they are courteous. You must have seen, if you have seen, if you have met any army officer, you will see a lot of respect offered to you from that particular person, in the way he or she would. Of course, it's not only to the male officers, to the female officers also. A lot of positivity in the personality, lot of strength in the character. And in fact, whenever people go, I'm sure you must have heard of the exams like NDA. And so when children go to NDA, then it is their officer like qualities are tested, so that we will call OLQs. And I'm slightly digressing, but again we're just doing some discussion around the word so that you're able to remember the story and retain the word longer. So officer like qualities. And when you go to when there is an entry to OTA, which is officers training academy, which happens right after graduation. So or you give this exam of CDS. So when you go to IMA, right, there are two academies. So OTA is usually for short service commission, IMA is a long term thing. And usually people go to OT and IMA right after their graduation, so they look like officer qualities. So the officer like qualities because here the students are there in NDA for a period of 3 years, so they are groomed, they are trained. But you can only be groomed if you have some basic character. So if whenever there's SSB or the test, they would look for the qualities where the people are courteous, where they know how to talk to, they are strong in character, they have a they're physically having that stamina and stability in the personality. So that's how you can relate, associate. When we are talking about courteous, it's not always thinking of a teacher who's having a pleasing personality. You can think of any, maybe if you are going to the office, you can think of your boss who's courteous, or maybe you met your cousin's friend whom you found very courteous, right? Or at times you went for an internship or training and you found a fellow who's very courteous. So just broaden your horizon. The idea here is to help you understand what are the ways. The idea is not to teach you just these words. Of course, this is one of the agendas, but the broader goal that we are aiming at is that you should be able to broaden your horizon. You should be able to think beyond the definite line. When you will be creative, when you will be imaginative, when you will be able to relate to, your learning would definitely enhance, and that's what we would want, right? So sociable, of course, a person who's easy going, friendly to talk to, would have a more social presence, would be more accessible to people, so that's how he'll be more social or sociable. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand affable here. Let's learn the, okay, before that you can make a quick sentence. Okay, so I hope you have made a sentence. So let's move to the next word, amenable. So let's see this image and we'll try to decode the meaning. We want to change you. Hey, no problem. I'm open to change. So amenable is a person who is amendable, right? Favorably disposed, willing to change. And as a person, you should have this characteristic that if you're doing, something which society doesn't accept, and somebody suggests that boss, this trait is not good in you. Why don't you make some changes in your personality? And you are okay and welcoming towards it. We've seen that as people grow up, they leave this characteristic. They are not interested to learn, or they're not interested to change. And if you are not having this trait, then you'll find it difficult to grow up in the ladder, right? So opposite. So this way somehow I'm trying to teach you anton in somewhere, synonym somewhere, so that you are able to get a richer vocab base. So क्लोज माइंडेड, ऑब्स्टिनेट, ऑब्स्टिनेट का मतलब होगा जिद्दी होना, stubborn होना, right? Recalcitrant, stubborn. Stubborn is person who's too opinionated about something, or he or she feels that his way is the right way, right? That's not the approach always. So amenable would be a person who's amendable. Amend is change. Okay, so when we talk about amend is bring change. So usually in the positive way, right? So that's how we are going to use the word. So I'm sure you're clear with the meaning. Time to make a quick sentence. Try to write the antonyms and synonyms. Create a picture, associate with some person. Think of a person who whom you think that brought a lot of changes in his or her personality, and now you see him or her as a completely polished person because he was amenable, he was amendable, right? So to make some sentences in your mind, relate, you would want to scribble down, do relate. So amendable. So maybe I know a friend of mine, and she was under the list of Forbes 30 under 30. So I'll just write, I don't know whether I'm allowed to write her name, Miss Sharma. So she made a lot of positive changes in her personality, and wow, what an iconic figure she is now. So she gives TED talks, and she was one of this person who was chosen by the Google as the young budding scientist of the country, right? So we've seen a lot of positive traits, so and a lot of transformation from being a simple girl to now a top businesswoman. So she was amenable. Whenever I think of this word amenable or amendable, this is the name that instantaneously strikes me. So you can also think of somebody, or you can, keep it like this, that I would want to be an amenable person who would be willing to change and would want to become a better person, right? So just try making some sentences, and then we're going to proceed further. Great. So let's further proceed and learn the next word. Oh, we have some synonyms also. Responsive, receptive, right? So that's also in the same sense that you're responding to changes. Okay, we have had a lot of discussion around it. So amiable, oh, amendable, amiable, affable, right? Amenable. So a lot of words that we are learning, right? So you'll see good natured and likable, right? So in Latin this is amicus, which means friend. Amity, right? So amity is friendship, right? That's way you can relate, right? So now think of somebody who is amiable in your circle, right? Engaging, who's good natured and likable. Amigos is how we use the word. Make a sentence and then we will proceed further. Great. So let's further proceed and see what is the next word that we are going to learn. Apt. Oh wow, we just did a kangaroo word also for this, and the apartment is perfect. That's an apt discussion. So apt is something which is appropriate, right? So appropriate, if you will see appropriate, you can also learn it like a kangaroo word, and you can also create a mnemonic out of it. So apt is something which is absolutely fine, appropriate, suitable, right? So appropriate, fitting, pertinent. Pertinent is something which is relevant, right? So the opposites would be inappropriate or inept, right? Or you can simply at times use this prefix to change the meaning of the words and make them opposites, right? So I'm sure you are clear with it. So adept, apt, right? So we did it adept, and that was apt, right? So again, a kangaroo word and a synonym, so this is easy to relate, right? So quickly make a sentence and then we are going to proceed further. So let's see what's the next word, which is assiduous, as in the dust, right? So when you are really hard working, right? So when you're really putting a lot of effort, when you are, struggling, or, you are unflagging, that means you're not giving up, you're industrious. Industrious, it comes from the word industry, which is putting an effort, right? And persistent, not giving up. So you need to have this trait when you want to crack any of the entrance test, right? You need to really really work hard. You need to give your 100%. You need to ensure that you are rigorous in your endeavors. You are slogging hard, See, it's not only putting an effort. I always say effort in the right direction, but there would be some students who would be needing to put more effort, and you are competing against your own self. So just don't think that, a friend of yours or a cousin of yours just studied for 2 hours and you could crack the exam. You might need to work for 4 hours or 6 hours, but 8 hours, right? So you need to decide, and you need to be industrious, or you need to be hardworking, or you need to be persistent, and you need to have this unflagging thing going on, because you want to achieve your dreams, you want to get better than your previous self, right? So quickly make a sentence, and then we are going to proceed further. Think of the words we have done. Amiable, we have done, amenable and amiable, and we have done affable, right? So just keep on thinking. Okay, amiable is friendly. Okay, then affable is a person who's easy to talk to. Then amenable is a person who can easily be, willing to change, right? Then we have done appropriate, or we have done apt, right? And we have done adept also. So all these words we are learning. Assiduous we have just learned. So this way, if you will continue revising, you will see that, you are understanding that how far you have reached, right? So if a session is able to give you as a productive output somewhere around 50 words, our job is done, right? So you can think of how many words we have learned so far, and write it down, write the synonyms, write the associated words, so that way you will be able to retain better. We have learned a lot of words in this class, lot of interesting words. So see, what are the words, you can categorize them. What are the words that will be easy to retain, right? What would be the words that you are finding difficult to retain, right? And what you are going to do about it. Difficult to retain, you can see, okay, like, these three words are easy for me, or these words are easy for me. Assiduous can be one word which is difficult, so how am I going to retain? Am I going to create a Pictionary for myself, or am I going to use that particular word in the next 2 3 days? So any word that you're finding difficult, use it for 2 3 days in your day-to-day discussions. Try, make any sentence, think of any situation or any sentence where you can fit in that particular word. You will see the magic happening. You'll be able to retain the word longer. So you can, always classify like this. This is another interesting way to do it. Okay, so these are the words which are easy to retain, or maybe I knew them, I've heard of them, I've had a discussion. Or the mnemonic is easy to associate, easy to relate, so I'm not going to forget these words. But there are certain words which are difficult, which I'm not really comfortable with the synonym also, or I'm hearing it for the first time, that's difficult to pronounce or difficult to relate to. So I'm going to put them in my flashcards. I'm going to make a separate list, and next 3 4 days, maybe if I've put 10 words, right? So it's not always necessary that you retain all the 10 words, use all the 10 words in the sentences. Maybe two, three I'm going to use, and I'm going to see the difference it makes, right? So I'm sure you are sorted. So let's see what is the next word. Benevolent. Benevolent. Oh, this fellow looks really happy and kind person. So kind and generous, right? So altruistic. Altruism is one trait. Magnanimous, large-hearted. Philanthropy. See, Ben means something which is good, and there are so many words to it. Benediction, a person who speaks well. Edict is to state. So you know Ben is something which is positive. Then you can learn beneficiary. Beneficiary is a person who receives good. Benefactor, a person who sponsors good, right? Bona fide, in good faith, right? So all these are so many beautiful words that come up with Ben. So or the opposite will be mal, so malevolent, right? Or malediction, right? Or you can go on making synonyms, I mean antonyms with the root mal, right? So altruistic, charitable. Philanthropy, phil stands for love, and anthro stands for mankind. So philanthropy would be love for mankind, right? So that's how you can associate it. So you can say Ben is never violent, right? So Ben is never violent, so he is benevolent, he's kind, he's generous. You can associate, maybe you can associate it with Mother Teresa, or you can associate it with Bill Gates, or you can associate it with Ratan Tata. Whoever you think is a very generous person as a figure, it is easy for you to associate benevolent with him or her. Who's a kind hearted person, maybe Sonu Sood these days, the way he has shown support. He has really won hearts and has become just an admirable person in the country because of the benevolence shown, because of the altruism shown, because of the kind-heartedness shown, because of the philanthropic acts he has done. So that's how you can associate, right? So let's come to the next word, camaraderie. So you are a good friend, or you are also a good friend. So goodwill, right? A goodwill between friends, a positive vibe that people share. Bonhomie, congeniality. See, congenial we were learned earlier also. When we were talking about army people, and then we were talking about that they are really courteous, right? So they are amiable. So in a way we did this discussion. So you can see how the words are coming again and again, and that's the magic. That's how when we start learning words, we start putting efforts. You'll see the words around you. You'll start observing them. You'll start finding the words in your day-to-day discussions. In a series you're seeing, you might come across any such word, or you might read that particular word, or your friend might use that particular word, or in case of nothing is happening, you use the word, right? And you'll see that your understanding is becoming better. So guided by conscience and good moral sense, right? So conscience, there are two words, conscience and conscious, right? So conscious is aware, I am conscious, so awaken, right? And conscience is your inner sense of right and wrong, right? So this would be your inner sense of right and wrong, right? My conscience did not allow me to cheat in the exam, right? So careful, faithful, right? So that's how we are going to learn this particular word. So cordial, that's the next word. Cordial, again, when we were talking about army people, we did talk that they are cordial people. They are warm, they're congenial. See, the words are coming back, right? So cordial means a person who's congenial, who's friendly, right? Who's courteous. So that's how you can relate it. I was just calling to see how are you doing, so that's where I would be cordial, right? Cord plus dial, so that's how you can associate with the picture. Warm and sincere and friendly, right? Congenial, again coming back, sociable, hearty. So easy word, right? Quickly make a sentence, and then we are going to proceed further with the next word. Oh, that's already appeared, but I'll give you a few seconds to make a sentence. Decorous. So decorous means decent and courteous, marked by good taste, proper. So right, maintain decorum, right? So becoming, fitting, dignified. So decorous army soldier. That's also we use it, right? So let's learn the next word. Diligent is a person who is, always making an effort, is hardworking, right? So persevering. So that's how you can see, painstaking, studious. The diligent student, he really works hard. Right. So this is something. In order to prosper, also in order to learn, in order to get better, you should be diligent in your efforts, right? And exemplar, so exemplar is somebody who's setting an example, a model. So exemplary performance, something that has to be imitated, something that has to be copied, so imitated, right? So that's what the word, which is to copy, right? So you can see exemplary performance by my student, exemplary performance by Sachin Tendulkar in particular match, right? That is something which is considered as a role model. People can copy it, or people can, learn from it, right? Something which is ideal, perfect to be, imitated. So let's see the next word, gregarious. Gregarious means a person who's outgoing, right? Who would want to, enjoy the company of others, right? So greg is the root, which means herd or a group, right? So he's a gregarious person. He would like to go out and make a lot of friends, sociable, outgoing, right? So laudatory is something which is worthy of appreciation. So, your effort is laudatory, something which you can applaud, appraise, right? So laudatory performance, right? Or give a round applause. You must have seen this particular term being used, a big round of applause for this gentleman for performing so well, right? Glorify, appreciate karna, right? So propriety means proper in society, appropriateness of behavior, right? Exhibiting proper etiquettes, mannerisms, skills, protocols, correctness, right? And next is prudent. Prudent is somebody who's wise, who's having a great judgment, right? So vigilant, a proud student who's prudent, who's, so we'll say that this person is prudent. That means he has good common sense. He can apply his brain. He can, learn the application. So that's how where we are going to use the word prudent, right? So let's see the next word, which is sanguine. Sanguine means she sang, we will win. So cheerful, confident, people who are having very cheerful personality, there we use the word sanguine, right? So buoyant, hopeful, joyous. So on this beautiful word, we will bring this session to an end. I hope you are now familiar with the idea of kangaroo words and you know how to create mnemonics. So these were few ideas. I also in a way tried to help you have a pictionary. That's also one other way of doing vocabulary building. So you can personalize the approaches, you can tweak the approaches, and try to have as many approaches as possible that will help you get a richer vocabulary base. And don't forget, consistency is the key. So you have to really really work hard every day. Decide a stipulated time. If it is not possible to, it's actually difficult to learn, sit for half an hour and learn all the words. So try to distribute time. Maybe, whenever I'm doing quant, before starting I'll do vocabulary for 5 words. After finishing I will do 5 words. However it works for you. When I'm going in the to the college, then I will learn some words. By before sleeping I will learn some words. So distribute and decide, and then whatever words you're learning, try to use in the day-to-day discussions, right? Don't forget, consistency is the key. And please do watch the space for more videos. All the best. Take care.